What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 107 of the Unknown Games podcast. We're coming at you with another sweet, hot, delicious episode. I am Re24. You guys can follow me on Twitch. Stream Tuesdays and Thursdays. Link will be somewhere on screen, or that's ROUTE24. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, NinjaTrixta. What's up, dude?
Not much, man. Just praying I could actually get this in. My mic was just like not playing nice. I don't know. OBS has been strange for me these days. It's been acting strange with my camera and my mic, and I've been like, life is strange.
Sweet.
Now the roles are reversed. You got to continue the intro.
Yeah. Well, we are a gaming podcast in Japan, so you're going to hear a lot of stuff about life in Japan or just our takes of the gaming industry from kind of an expat perspective. But just in case you guys are here for the first time, feel free to take a breather and first off, subscribe to the YouTube channel. There should be a link somewhere in the show notes. You put links in the show notes, right?
I put links, but not to which links to
the YouTube channel.
To the YouTube channel, yes.
Okay, sweet.
In the
Go
podcast,
ahead, check.
But not on the actual YouTube, because you're already on YouTube if you're.
Yeah, well, I mean, might as well. You never know. You really never know.
It's true,
definitely go ahead. Feel free to subscribe first and foremost. Then follow both of us on Twitch. You can follow NinjaTrixta at twitch.tv/NinjaTrixta. That's Ninja Trix, because he's super cool.
I'm extra cool like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, spin my trickster wheels.
So how have you been this week?
It's been actually pretty good. I gotta say, Halloween weekend happened, and that was.
It did happen. Yeah.
It happened. That was the best thing I can say about it. I mean, I think it was raining here in Japan.
Oh yeah, it did. Halloween was yesterday, actually, time of recording. So it's Monday right now recording. If you guys are listening to the podcast on Spotify, it'll probably be later the end of the week for you. But if you're here live on YouTube, hello. P.S. If you're not here live, come catch us on YouTube live next week.
It's that reminder. It's the reminder at the top of the show. Go ahead and do that, people. But yeah, I mean, it was good, and I finished up Resident Evil 7. That's, I guess, the highlight of my Halloween. I watched some scary movies, but nothing like horribly scary, right? I can't do anything like I wanted to watch The Conjuring. I really did, because I was like, you know what? I want to watch a really scary movie, like really scary, and I couldn't. I didn't want to go to sleep and then end up waking up thinking I'm seeing stuff, because I hate that feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I usually, like, if I watch a scary movie or I play a scary game, I like have to do something afterwards. I just can't immediately go to sleep, because then it'll like seriously like affect my dreams if I do that.
Yeah.
So,
and for me, it's like if I look at the closet or I look in the corner of the room or something, I feel like I still see whatever I saw in the movie. You know?
Yeah, I mean I kind of get. I mean, so I streamed Caregiver, right, earlier this year.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember like after I finished streaming that night, I was like, hey, look, thanks for hanging out, guys. I'm going to bed. It's pretty late. And then I went to go brush my teeth. And I was like walking through my not empty rather, but my dark apartment, and like
you saw the little baby thing. What was that thing that was chasing you at the end of that game?
It was like an old lady, I guess. Spoiler alert for Caregiver, but yeah, it's like an old. Well, it's not even an old lady. It's like a fucking like possessed corpse, basically. But yeah,
you saw that. You saw that coming at you. It was terrifying.
Terrifying. What's scarier for you, like slasher films or like psychological kind of thriller films?
It's always the stuff that are, I guess stuff like The Conjuring or Paranormal Activity. Are those like psychological kind of, or are those just more? Because they're definitely not slasher. They're not in the slasher genre.
Yeah.
But like that stuff, like anything that has to do with demons specifically, like I can't do it.
I might have mentioned this before either on the podcast or I guess sometime like during a stream or something like that. But I don't find slasher films like as scary. Like they're jumpy because there was like these jump scares, these cuts or something like that, right?
Right, right.
And they do it really well with just like jump cuts and music and that kind of stuff and scene composition, that kind of stuff. So it's jumpy and it's scary in that way. But for like true like this sense of dread and this horror, it's always for me it's like the paranormal kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the things that scare me are things that can't easily be explained by like
That yeah,
region like yeah by reason or logic or science or something like that, right?
exactly.
So when it's like a slasher film, it's like, oh, it's just like it's a guy with a knife.
It's a person with a knife, or
Yeah.
even if it's not a person, it's a physical thing with a knife, right?
It's like a creature, or it's an alien, or it's a guy with a knife, and it's like, okay, that is scary. Don't get me wrong, I would be scared for my life, but it's really, I can wrap my head around that. It's just a guy with a knife. But when it comes to like paranormal, and it comes to otherworldly creatures or demons or ghosts or that kind of stuff, or whatever curses, it's like there's no logical scientific explanation, and that's to me that's way scarier.
That's the scariest thing. Yeah. I mean, and it's so much easier to imagine what never was there in the first place. That's just like your imagination has a field day with it. So that's for me. And I was watching a streamer. I think we were talking about this earlier, but I saw this streamer today actually playing real like Phasmophobia in real life. Like they went
it was like set up. It was like a whole like scenario that was set up for them, right?
Yeah. I guess they went on like a haunted tour or something, or someone knew some locations,
like an experience kind of thing, right?
Exactly. And so they had the spirit box, the Ouija board, they had all that stuff, and like I was just like, nah, man, I couldn't do it. I really couldn't. It would be like, I wish I could go out there and then maybe touch the spirit box and say something, but I don't even think I could do that. I would just be in the back like, y'all do y'all's thing. I'm just watching.
I definitely think it's a frame of mind kind of thing. Like if you come at it where it's like, oh, this is completely set up, like someone's behind this pulling all the strings. It's an experience sold to me kind of thing.
Exactly.
If you come at it at that perspective, maybe it won't be scary. You're like, oh, this is cool. Like a nice kind of like, it's like a movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you kind of like let yourself believe that all of this is not coincidental, then I guess it would be pretty scary. Yeah.
When it does happen, you about to run. You're running as soon as it does happen. But we're gonna go ahead and run on into the show because it's actually a pretty big week in terms of gaming and the news that came out from last week. But number one, starting off this week, I think it's actually November 2nd is when the next season, the new season of Apex Legend comes out.
The second in not Japan, basically, yeah?
And not Japan, for not Japan, man. I hated that fact. I'm like, oh, I'm going to download and play it tomorrow. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, I know. You got to wait till like 3 a.m. or something.
Keep on waiting. And so like Apex Legends, of course, we're huge players here. I haven't played this much of a game since probably Overwatch and Destiny. And but this season, this current season, I took it off, and it shows when I go and play. But I mean, how about you? Are you still playing pretty religiously? Are you still on it every night, kind of deal?
Yeah, I'm playing pretty much nightly still. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So are you excited for the new season? I mean, we got Ash coming in, so more Titanfall lore, more Titanfall weapons. I mean, let's face it.
Like, am I excited? Yeah, but also like it's clockwork, dude. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like
it is.
I feel like, because the thing about these games as a service is that like it is clockwork. They are gonna do seasons at expected intervals, so it's just season time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like they dropped a surprise announcement for Xenosaga 4 or like Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 or whatever like that.
That is
true. We just knew it's coming. It's this new Apex season's time. I'm gonna say I'm looking forward to playing the changes, but I'm not like excited, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense. And I'm curious to see like on the player base their excitement versus just expected, because I would say like earlier, probably up until like season 5, maybe up to Fuse, I was excited. Right, I was actually excited, like what was happening, new things being added. Even though I was like, I really want a new map or kind of thing, but it was still fun for me right then. But now it's kind of like you said, it's expected, it's clockwork, you know what's coming, and you're just like, okay, well, I'll hop into the next season. You know, I'll hop into it. We'll play who
Like
I
I'll just
play.
keep playing. Yeah, like I'm not bored of the game yet, so I'm like, okay, it's good that they're adding things to keep me into it, but I'm not. I don't have that sense of like, holy shit, I gotta play this season, man. Like Ash is the best, or the car is the tits, or this map looks awesome. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like I want to see how it plays. I want to see other changes, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I love how I put Apex new season news. Oh my goodness. So yeah, Ash is the new character, the next legend in the game. Of course, she had her roots in Titanfall, and I believe you know her as she's what, a pilot. She's
She's
one
a
of
pilot, yeah. She's one of like the boss characters you gotta fight in Titanfall 2.
And it seems like, a lot of people were hyped for her inclusion just because of more Titanfall lore, building up to hopefully what happens if actually it turns out like, okay, we've added all the characters from Titanfall 2, we've added all the weapons. Now we can actually make Titanfall 3.
I think like Ash is just she's always been like I feel like one of the more popular characters from Titanfall 2 just because she has a pretty cool vibe to her. She's not human, obviously. She's a simulacrum or whatever. She's a lot like Revenant, right?
Right, right.
Well, she is like Revenant, like in that lore. I don't know if they like retroactively changed or anything, but she's not obviously human anymore.
Right.
Her Titan in Titanfall 2 was one of the cooler ones. It's if you go look at the box for or a lot of the promotional art for Titanfall 2, actually, you'll notice the Titan has like this big ass broadsword. That's Ash's
Oh,
Titan.
that's her.
Actually.
Okay, and that's why she still has her kind of. It's not a broadsword per se, but that's why she has her sword. And from what I've heard, the abilities are pretty much what her Titan had.
Kind of, yeah.
In a way,
maybe.
Right? They're a little bit kind of like those abilities. And as you mentioned, she is a similar like Revenant.
Yeah.
And Dr. Ashley Reed is inside of her.
So here's the thing. In Titanfall 2, we didn't know she was a doctor or anything. In Titanfall 2, she's just like, "What's up? I'm Ash, and I'm a bad guy.
I'm gonna kill you."
Like, oh, what's up, Ash? Cool. That's cool. She has like no backstory at all. So like we're like kind of learning all of this now through Apex, that she at one time was a doctor. She had like this is what she looked like as a human and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and her ties to Horizon and how they link those trailers. So that's there. But what we're kind of going to get into a little bit with the show today is her abilities and this thing that is in a lot of MOBAs or any type of game with legends or characters that are fighting each other, have abilities and stuff. The next character has to be better, has to be more interesting to keep players coming back, right? Or get new players to come in. And it's a feature called Power Creep. But her abilities, Arc Snare, Marked for Death, and Phase Breach.
They seem extremely powerful, right?
They seem really, really powerful.
We need to see how she plays. There's leaked footage actually already of the season, but we need to see what happens when she's in the hands of all the players. Because like I got to admit, when they announced Zero, it's like this seems fine, I guess. Turns out Zero was like very powerful.
They had to nerf him down to where you don't actually see him as much. Like he's he's around.
He's not as prevalent as he was at the start of the season, and I think there's two reasons for that. Surely some of it, I guess, could be due to the nerf, and I think the rest of it is just people are like, oh, he's not the new shiny thing anymore, right?
Yeah, that's very true. So Arc Snare, her ability is she throws a spinning snare her tactical that throws a spinning snare that damages and tethers the first enemy who gets too close.
If that is on short cooldown, that's madness.
That will be or she has like two of them. If she has two of them, that's like straight
madness. That's
madness.
like an arc star that doesn't explode and for free essentially. Like that's
and we've seen Watson, the downfall of Watson, right? Like Watson is like, my fences don't even stun people anymore. And this girl
they gave her a big ass buff though this season.
Oh, they did? Did her fences stun again?
They gave her a rework. They gave Watson a pretty big
okay
rework,
Watson, please. She's like, I can't just be going in against people who literally throw my ability at people and they can't escape. That's some whack stuff.
But no, like Arc Snare, like at least on paper, that sounds like an arc star for free that doesn't explode. You know what I mean? Like you can check that out
and just trap somebody from moving, which is really critical. And I was gonna say her passive ability is Marked for Death, which shows the location of recent death boxes and marks surviving attackers.
Yep. On the map, you can
on the
see
map.
Where they are. Yeah,
you can see them, which is a lot of. I would argue that's more intel than crypto. That is
I would.
Crypto's room. That's Crypto's like. That's a whole building you would go into and scan.
Yeah. Well,
To an extent. To an extent.
well, they have different utility in the sense that one requires a fight to have finished, right? But
True. True.
like, for example, Mark for Death sounds amazing in Battle Royale, but it's going to be garbage in arenas because
There's no.
yeah,
You see someone there. You see someone there. You see someone there. It's useless.
Yeah. But I mean, the mode primarily is Battle Royale, but still, like you can argue that crypto is still useful in arenas, right? Because
Right.
it doesn't require a death box. But
Right. Right.
no, it's very powerful. Obviously, I'm not saying that it's not, but yeah, it has a bit of a different utility, right?
It does. It does. And finally, for her ultimate phase breach, she
Mhm.
tears open a one-way portal to a target location, which sounds like Wraith. I'm not really sure what
Yeah,
the
this
actual
one-
difference between. I haven't seen it in action.
This is a little bit interesting because at least from the trailers and some of the leaked footage that I've seen, the teleport is essentially instant. So you can ready her ultimate, and she takes her sword out. She's now no longer holding a gun. She's kind of just holding her sword.
Okay. Okay.
And you'll see basically in the distance, like I don't know exactly the distance in meters, in-game meters, but like you can see where you'll be exiting before you can fire the ultimate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you're just like, okay, well that's where I want to exit. You like release Q, I guess, and then she does a slash animation, and then she's gone. It's like she's in the portal essentially.
Exactly.
So I think the windup is a lot faster than Wraith's windup, which they basically over the course of like however seasons, like they nerfed it. They made it like wind up way slower, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So
We'll see. We'll have to see how that goes. But like we were talking about, with Seer, now Seer had these features. You know, he had some crazy abilities that didn't seem crazy on. Well, they didn't seem crazy on paper like we thought. But when they get into the game, it's a completely different beast.
it's because they all just added up and it was madness. Like Sears scan had a flashbang effect. You got blinded and you got damaged
and you got stunned, and
yeah.
it was a lot of stuff happening all at once. But we understand that they have to release these legends in a powerful state, right? Because you can. It's easier to tune down than it is to tune up. You know, it's easier to debuff people than to buff people.
So yeah.
But I mean, how do you feel? Like, do you feel like they need to stop making legends at one point, or do you feel like we're almost like a legend? I think this is what 20 or something.
I
19,
would be
like,
I would be super cool with after the next 2 seasons they stop adding legends. I'm fine with them not doing that, and then just focusing on new guns or new balance changes or new maps, right?
Right.
I'm totally fine. Like for however like many seasons there's been, I've pretty much only played Octane. I've dabbled in Revenant a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if I'm feeling particularly adventurous and I'll play someone else, but I basically only play Octane still, right?
Yeah, I have the same play style as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it doesn't matter how many legends you add. I'm not gonna play them, so you don't need to add them anymore. At least that's how I feel, right?
Right. Because at a certain point, the old legends, I don't want to say they're going to be obsolete because they're going to try to rework them to an extent.
I feel like many of the old legends, especially if the new ones keep coming out like this, they certainly, a lot of them need reworks, right?
Yeah, they're going to need an upgraded toolkit, like almost like a shonen anime, right? They get to the halfway point, we got to up them, we got to change them
from the training arc or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're seeing more and more that, like we were talking about, the abilities are one thing, and their kind of primary philosophy is they've always said gunplay over abilities, which is the opposite of something like an Overwatch, which is abilities over gunplay, because you don't need to play. You don't have to have good skills in terms of shooting a gun in Overwatch, but you do need to know how to use your abilities. Even more so because the aiming is a little bit more easier for a lot of the characters. Now there are certain skill-based characters in that game, but yeah, for this, like, man, yeah, some people are gonna need a rework. They just are, because they can't compete. They can't keep up.
I feel like my boy Octane, like he's fine I think, because Octane has actually relatively high pick rate, and he also has a decently high win rate. Just like people are coming out of fights
It's that
well, there
speed,
are
man. It's that speed in the
yeah,
jump pad.
like there are really good Octane players. So he's got a decently good like win rate, pick rate, and that's probably why they don't want to like touch Octane. I think. I mean,
Right.
the last time they touched him, they actually like nerfed him a bit. But like, I don't know. Like, do you know older legends like let's say Bangalore and Mirage? Do they need to be looked at again? Like, do they need to be like
Can we even
buffed? Are
can
they
we even
not?
have not Bang but Mirage re-looked at again? Like it's
Yeah, no, I
some
was talking about this with the people that I play with, and like I think it'd be really cool when you could when you send out a dummy, you could choose to dummy not yourself. You could choose to dummy a teammate actually.
yeah, yeah.
That
That
would
would
be
be
interesting. Yeah.
that would be interesting. Just because like we've definitely seen it with, I would say, someone like Fuse, right? Fuse has the best intentions, but for whatever, for the love of everything, he can't be like, he's just not viable. His toolkit just isn't viable, and you know, he came out as kind of a legend for explosives, right? You would
Yeah.
shoot as many grenades as possible.
He actually, yeah, I think he's one of the newer legends that got a buff afterwards. Revenant as well,
Yeah,
actually. If you remember the state that Revenant came out in, he was like not too great, and then they buffed him. Then they nerfed him a little bit, but yeah, like his totem was kind of shit because like it was timed, it was distance restricted,
yep,
right?
yep.
Then they made it like, oh, no distance limit. You can pop it anywhere you want, and then you can rush with it. And then people were combining that then with wraith portals, and like, okay, well, you can't do that anymore. It's too good.
It's too
So
good.
like,
It's too good. It's too good,
yeah,
right? And that's where we get in a little bit the territory of there's almost one too many characters to kind of balance all these interactions with before they come out and try to make sure that they're good. But like you said, it is a live service, so they do patch and balance and go back and forth. Uh,
yeah. I think we could get to the point where we just like stop coming out with new legends, and then we just tweak them right as the season goes on, like as meta changes, and they're like, okay, that's obviously kind of messed up. Don't do that. Like the Revenant portal thing or the Revenant jump pad thing. You know, they have to like change that somehow. But
Yeah, I mean that's actually the state of Overwatch right now. They I think when they hit 30 legends or 30 heroes, they were like, okay, you know, we're not actually putting out any more heroes until Overwatch 2, which I have no clue if we'll ever get an Apex 2 or not. But I feel like because Apex we're only what, second year? Is this second year?
yeah,
This is the second year. We get like four, almost seems almost like five characters, but I would say like four characters a year.
it's crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe that. Like when I think about it, when I think about like when Loba launched, I was like, oh my god, that was a million years ago. I'm like, oh
Oh
wait,
yeah,
wasn't that just like,
that was just last year. It
yeah,
was like
like
last year or the year before or something.
no, it was. I think it was either like late last year or like even the beginning of this year, dare I say, like or something. Probably end of last year actually, but
End
yeah,
of last year sounds about right.
yeah,
Jeez, Lobo was, yeah. I mean, and Lobo was, you know, but even then, Lobo was kind of tame if we think about it. Lobo was tame when she came in the game.
yeah. She was definitely like not a legend that people are just like, "Oh, that's crazy shit." It's just like, oh, you can steal
Crypto
from
was
Mid or
tame.
whatever. Yes, and then like, when would you say is the first legend that you're like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, was it Fuse or was it Seer? Like Seer, when Fuse came out, I was like, oh, that's interesting, that's cool.
Yeah, Fuse came out and you're like, okay, that's cool, that's interesting. And it really was like, honestly, Seer
That's what it was. It was Seer. And
was
like,
the busted. Seer was
like,
the
holy
busted
shit.
one, but I would say it started around Horizon
Yeah, maybe.
in terms of, but Horizon even then, like, okay, she had a lift, right? It's like she has a lift, it's controllable. The main thing was them just tuning it down, right? It was just that, but she never felt like she was broken. She was just broken in the hands of good players and needed her abilities tuned down. But Seer was probably the first one where it was just like, yo, why does this dude have four different abilities? And Valkyrie, Valk too. Valk's not OP or anything, but Valk was another legend where you're like, why does she do so much? Even on the sub level, right? Her passive ability, there's a lot of things add up with
The
Valk.
scans when you can, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of like little minute things that add up, and you're like, everyone else like Bangalore just runs faster.
I honestly,
Shoot smoke.
it's
That's
it's
it.
to the point where I'm like, oh, what if like does Bangalore need to be looked at? Like, what if when you What if she always has thermal, like her eyes are just always like a thermal scope?
Yo,
You know what
that
I
would
mean?
be
Like,
hype. That would be
yeah,
hype.
like is that too much, right? Or
Right.
you know what I
But
mean?
it makes sense for her character, honestly.
With the
Like
smoke,
if you
yeah, and I
shoot
mean,
smoke, why
yeah.
would you not have something to see through it yourself, like automatically? Like
Like I remember when the game first launched, like the combo, the good combo was a Bloodhound
in a
scan
Bangalore.
and a Bangalore smoke because that's when we only had like 8 legends or something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But now it's like, oh, well, how do you get around the Bangalore smoke? I guess you could, for one, have a gold scope. You could use a Bloodhound scan, like an offensive Bloodhound
You could
scan.
just
You
have
could
a
use Seer.
Seer's ult.
Yeah, no, you could do Seer. You could use Crypto's scan technically, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things, but I guess like yeah, that's kind of the thing. It's not really a big topic. I know some people do get a little bit like antsy over power creep in games and just how things continuously get better and better. Overall, like I mean, do you feel like Apex has done a pretty good job of balancing stuff though? Do you
I
feel like
mean,
the
it's
game is
honestly
for
it's
the
so
most
tough
part
to
been pretty
say,
good?
like because we're 2 years in, which is like a long time, but also not a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Uh, Relatively, I would say fine. I think it's been more or less okay. Obviously, there's been some questionable changes, questionable like balance issues with characters and guns, but it hasn't deterred me to the point where I quit playing. I complain
Mm-hmm.
about them. I'll complain about them all the time. Like the L Star was prevalent in like this season actually. Yeah,
This
so like
season
before
slash last season ish.
they gave it like a tiny bit of a nerf, but it was the L-Star was prevalent, especially in like arenas. It was disgusting, honestly, because you
You
could
should
just buy
not
an
be able
L.
to shoot an L star like 3030 or
Yeah, like
G7,
you
but
you
you
could
can.
buy the L-Star round one in arenas, so it's like literally round one, and you have an L-Star, and then like it was really bad,
It's a crazy weapon. It's
just
crazy
for the
good.
meta. So I'll complain about it, but it like nothing so far has like deterred me from just like playing the game, right?
Right, right.
But I mean, power creep is a problem for many games, many genres, not just video games. It's, also card games. You know, if you play those, right?
It is. It is.
But
And even
here's the
fighting
question: is
games.
like, does power creep bother you personally? Now, I'm gonna use Pokemon trading card game as an example here, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We do like that every expansion of the Pokemon trading card game, power creep is so real and it's obvious and it's gross. Like it's insane how the power creep is in that in trading card game.
It is.
But like for the people that play the Pokemon trading card game seriously, when the next expansion comes out, I don't know if that bothers them because they just simply stop using non-competitive cards. They'll just build new decks with the new cards, and that's kind of just the nature of the game in a sense.
I think it comes into play when people feel like they have to play this, right? They have to do this.
They like have you will be yeah like you
Yeah.
have to if you want to play the Pokemon trading card game competitively, you
You have
have to buy the new expansion. You
the new
have to.
expansions.
You very
Exactly.
much have to. Yeah, and like I don't know. Like, what do you think? Like let's forget about video games for a second. Like, just think
Mm-hmm.
about the trading card game. Is that fine with you? Like, are you okay with that? You're like, yep, new expansion, new deck. That's just how
I
it
think
is.
it depends on the frequency. For me, I'm okay with it. Similar to the reason you said, because if I'm playing competitively, I played Magic semi-competitively back in high school for almost 3 years. And, you know, a new set comes out, and I'm like, okay, I got to relearn a bunch of stuff. But those cards are inherently either better than the previous set. But when I played Pokemon here, I realized because they were coming out, and maybe they still do this, they come out with sets so fast.
It's like it's like two to three times a year. It's like an Apex season essentially.
Yeah, yeah, it feels like
Yeah.
it's so quick. And
Yep.
you know, the previous cards you have, because with Pokemon, and the difference between Pokemon and Magic a little bit, Pokemon has like a whole new different theme, right? It almost seems like some of the decks are built off of like some side idea that came out, the tag
It's a
team
lot like
battle.
an Apex season, yeah. Like when
Right.
they did the fusion cards, I think last expansion or something like that. Right?
Exactly. And you're like, well, yeah, the cards I had before, they were good, but
Now they're
I,
not
I
the worth. Now they're
they're
worthless.
obsolete. Like I actually cannot play with them. Whereas in
They're
Magic, you can make
completely uncompetitive. Yeah.
yeah. Whereas in
Yeah.
Magic, you know, there's different formats and you can keep it going.
So
So
okay.
I was gonna say for me though, yeah, if I'm in the game, it doesn't bother me as much if I'm keeping up. But it comes into play when you miss that season, when you
And
miss
you're like a
that one thing,
casual Pokemon card player, right?
yeah, yeah,
So if you look at Apex the same way, like let's say power creep is egregious and it happens like it's really bad, and they do add new legends every single season. If you really cared about Apex, I presume you would just stop playing the older legends and you kind of just move on with your life, right?
that or you learn the new legends. I mean, we see this in fighting games, right? Typically towards the end of a fighting game's release, a lot of the newer characters that they add are typically better than the old cast, right? They have more utility. Uh, Sometimes they're easier to use, sometimes they're hard to use, but at the end of the day, they can dish out and do more. So you'll see pros do this. They'll go learn a new character. They'll learn that character and be like, "Hey, I got to win. I'm playing this."
You have to use like for the meta, right?
You got for the
yeah,
meta,
you
just
have
like
to, yeah.
how we saw with Seer, right? If Seer was never nerfed, we would never see the end of Seer.
If they never nerf Seer, everyone would just start playing Seer. Seer is the new meta, right?
Right, right.
So I think power creep, the people that are hurt the most by power creep are the people that play casually.
Mm-hmm.
The people that don't want to learn the meta, people that don't play every day, people are just like, I just want to hang out with my friends and have a good time. That's the people that's the people that are most negatively affected by power creep. But if you're a competitive player, if you take the game even like a little bit seriously, probably what would happen eventually is just you're like, oh, I'm just gonna not play like Octane anymore. I'm not gonna play Bangalore anymore. I'm gonna play like Ash and Seer. Like my load up, my composition now, my team load is like what Horizon, um, like Ash and Seer or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's honestly happened with my team because we don't play as much as we used to. As compared to a lot of other people who play, we've changed our team comp to kind of go with the meta, and that's a good thing. That's what they want. They want you to be able to do that, to kind of change your play styles and grow as a player. So it's actually, in some ways, it's a good thing. It can be a good thing when it's to a certain degree. But at another point, you're just like, I'm tired of seeing the same character fighting against the same character, losing against the same character, and that'll get into your mind. But like you said, if you're in for it, in for the long haul, or if you're in for it to be a little bit more competitive, you'll learn how to get around it and hope that the devs do their job and notice that, hey, something's kind of up.
Yeah, I think though most people would agree that power creep just in general is a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
I think most people think that power creep is a bad thing, and it's I've seen the argument that power creep is just what is it, like it's poor game design, it's lazy game design. It's like instead of balancing character, you just kind of make that character better. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, just go ahead and give them some crazy. I mean, I don't know where Apex goes from this. Now we know we do have a new map, and the map doesn't have a lot of respawn points. It does have more traversal options in terms of, I think there's like these lifts that I think they shoot you different places.
yeah,
or
so there's no balloons anymore. They're just catapults.
they're catapults.
Yeah.
This map is 15 or 10% larger than World's Edge, which is a large map. So, and I guess, hey, you have to make characters that also play on these new maps. So who knows? Maybe we'll have a traversal legend eventually. There could literally be a traversal legend. I mean,
Like a legend that what climbs, or what do you mean?
that their whole deal is, we have kind of that with Octane and Pathfinder and also Valkyrie, right?
Yep.
But imagine someone who summons vehicles. That's their
Summons
thing.
vehicles.
They just like, man,
Or
there's
they
a vehicle.
are a vehicle.
They are a vehicle.
They're a transformer.
Exactly. They're like a transformer. We don't have Titans in here, but we got Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers,
vehicles. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I feel like at one point, what happens, where do they go from the abilities they have? And if they keep going higher, I don't know what the game turns into at one point.
I don't know. I think like I don't know, dude. I feel like at this point we've seen a lot of the Titanfall abilities and guns represented in Apex in some form.
Mm-hmm.
The car is back, like, so that's a new gun for this season. The car is an old standby in Titanfall. It's an SMG. It's in Titanfall, at least it's extremely accurate. Has like comically accurate hipfire. In Apex though, it just can use two different ammo types. I guess that's the thing for this game.
Yeah, heavy and light.
Heavy and light.
Which is nice. Which is honestly, hey, I'll run it. I'll run it.
Yeah, I'll probably use it too. I'm gonna see how it is, at least from the leaked gameplay footage. I don't know if you've seen it, but like it seems to have a very fast fire rate. We'll see how it is in practice.
Yeah.
To be honest though, I think I will try out Ash for a little bit. Because her abilities they say are like from inspired from an old Titan. I like in Titanfall, that was my main Titan for a while, Ronin.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
So you have a
so
connection.
yeah. So Ronin's abilities, her Titan, had a stun. That was his like tactical, let's say. Like he would do a swing from his blade and send out an arc wave. It's like this anime style like shockwave from his sword, and that would
Hmm.
stun you if you got hit by it. And then he had a thing called phase dash, which is I guess like her ultimate, where he would just dash in a straight line essentially, and the whole time he's dashing, he's phased out, like Wraith would be.
Okay. Okay.
And then he would just like appear. So you could use that as to get in super close to an enemy without getting hit. And then you would just like basically either melee with your sword or you would use your gun. And Ronin was a Titan that used a giant shotgun, so he was a close range Titan.
Okay. Okay.
So his melee did more damage because he had a sword, and his gun was a shotgun, so it really hurt at close distance. So Ronin was the kind of Titan where you would stun someone, then you would phase dash towards them and like hurt them a lot, and then you could phase dash backwards to get to safety. So that's what the kind of like that's how Ronin played. So I would like I'm kind of curious to see if I can do that with Ash, I guess, who's a squishy, not Titan thing, but
squishy, not Titan.
Yeah.
It's a squishy, not Titan thing. So yeah, that's kind of what we were just going to talk about as the topic. And of course, by the time this comes out, people will have experienced whatever is going on, or you'll see it on the news sites, or any type of complaints. Of course, with a new season, servers go down, and
no,
of course,
it's true. That's a given. Like
that's a given. I don't know why people are surprised.
If there was an Apex Legends bingo, like that's the free space.
And people still complain. I'm like, yo, you know what's happening. Why are you just getting on and being like, I can't play. I'm like, you can't play. Why are you still? Oh man. So that is a thing. And of course, like the new map has a lot of different areas. We're not going to go over the map so much, but if you are an Apex Legends fan, definitely give the season a try. I would say if anything, always give a season a try. If you want to play it, just go ahead, hop into it, play a couple rounds. If you like it, that's cool. If you don't like it, then well, stop playing.
Are you gonna come back for the season, or are you just gonna be like, I don't know, play casually on and off, or what?
I'll probably still play casually on and off unless I get hooked. I'm super hooked on Pokemon Unite right now.
That's good.
Dude, I'm at like 60 hours plus right now.
That's like a full. That's like how much time I put into Dragon Quest almost.
Off 10-minute games, off of 10-minute and 5-minute games. Like it's pretty crazy. But I want to because there's a lot of different features that they've added to the game on this map specifically, which I've been asking for a new map. They gave me a new map. I need to play the new map.
That's sweet.
So we're going to take a small break. For everyone who is watching on YouTube, this doesn't mean that you get a break at all. But if you are listening, we're going to take a small break, and we'll be right back.
Sweet.
With the news. So starting off with the news, number one, I know you were excited about this. Yeah, Bayonetta turns 12. That's not what you're excited about. Star Ocean, The Divine Force, coming in 2022 for PS4 and PS5. Probably other stuff, I would assume. I can't believe Sony would just pay for Star Ocean.
I have opinions about the trailer so far.
Yeah, you have opinions about the trailer so far? Like that's you have like opinion. Let me open this up. I think we should be able to look at the trailer really quick. Square Enix, don't kill us. We love you. We love you.
Yeah, please. We need you to make Final Fantasy 7 Part 2.
We need that to happen. So I mean, what are your gripes about this? This was unveiled about at the PlayStation event last week, which as soon as it said Tri-Ace, I knew. I was like, okay, this in the first character model comes up. I'm like, oh, this is some Star Ocean.
That's Star Ocean.
That's Star Ocean. So what is your thing about it? What's your thing? What's your take?
Okay, it's gonna be just one thing. It's just one thing, and it's the character designs. At least
that's
how
it.
they're represented.
Well, I mean, there's not much else shown, but yeah, that's They're big foreheads and smaller like.
Okay, so You know what a Dolphy is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this really expensive, basically huge ass doll that they sell in Japan for like hundreds of dollars. You can make your own, custom make your own doll basically, but they also do collaborations with other franchises. You can get, for example, like a FF14 Dolphy of Yoshitola, right?
You think this is in preparation for that?
Well, no, but like if you know what a Dolphy is, like that's what these characters all look like.
That's what they look like. For me, I felt like they almost looked, and the game itself is a combination of a. For me, I felt like it is a Xenoblade. It looks like they took it and went a Xenoblade Chronicles or X whatever route with it. And the characters to me, they do have that doll-like appearance. It didn't bother me so much in Xenosaga, but this
Yeah.
does still remind me of like a Xenosaga, or it reminds me of those type of characters. But they look weird because their foreheads are wide or
And
something.
their
There's something
eyes are
about their.
so damn big.
I mean, the eyes of any anime character are big.
Oh, but no, I mean like
I mean, the
you
girl
can
looks.
keep them
She
under
looks
control.
fine.
Like I never had this problem with like Tales of Arise, for example, right?
I feel like Tales of Arise are a little bit more traditional anime. Like I don't know how to describe it. They're not as round.
Yeah, exactly. Like I never had this weird feeling with Tales of Arise. Like obviously it's stylized, obviously it's anime, right? It's not realistic in any way, but I never was like, oh, they look kind of weird. I'm like, oh yeah, these characters they look like anime characters. These characters they look like
I mean, like,
dolls.
but her like she doesn't like her eyes don't look bad. It's for me, it's their forehead is wide, but like when it comes down to their mouth, it just does a V.
I think
Like they have no chin or something. Like their jaw. They have no jaw.
part of the problem too is just how the characters are rendered. Like if you look at the background, like it looks real. Like the problem with the environment is that the environment looks so realistic. Like cut to any part of the trailer, the environments look really really good. Like foliage looks awesome, lighting looks great. Like everything looks more or less kind of realistic, right?
Right, right.
And then you have these characters that like the problem is that they're too pristine, they're too porcelain, their skin is too smooth. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, when we see some of these environments, like the grass in this area, it looks really nice. And then you get to them, I feel like less than being clean, they just look really rough. I mean, obviously, this is still a really early kind of rough build. There's nothing concrete that they're going to keep. There's stuff that they might keep.
like
Who knows?
when I was
But,
playing like Star Ocean 3, I never had this problem because like back on the PS2, like there wasn't so much of a divide between like the environment and these characters, right?
but do they still look? They still, like, for
They
me,
still
they
look the
still
same.
look
They
like
still
Star Ocean characters. That's the
they
weird thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah, they look. I mean, like, what do you mean if in 6 the new characters they look like Star Ocean characters? Yeah,
Yeah, these new characters, they still remind me, like, when you see them, you're like, okay, that's a Star Ocean character. Like, I feel like
yeah,
that's Star
that's
Ocean.
true, I guess. But I mean, like in the older games, I never had a like it felt like this gap wasn't so big between like where they were and what these characters are, right?
Yeah.
It's just because the environment is rendered in such a way that's lifelike in terms of lighting and stuff like that. But if you take a look at any other game, like look at Scarlet Nexus or look at, um, I don't know, I guess just like any like a recent Bandai Namco game, right? And it's like everything is stylized. Like, the environment is also stylized to look anime-ish and not realistic. Because if you,
I could see that. And that's where I guess you could say this kind of falls flat, right? This falls a little bit flat in terms of it looks just it looks nice but generic to me,
it looks
right?
really,
At least those other
yeah,
things
there's
have
just a strange
a
divide.
style to it, right?
If you look at say FF7, the environments are lifelike, and the characters
They match that.
they still retain like anime like features in terms of like eye size and that kind of thing, like a tiny bit. But otherwise, these characters look very, very, very like realistic. Like skin looks like skin, like it with a subsurface scattering, like it reflects light, like how skin should. Right?
Like I would almost just say these are just I don't want to call them bad character designs. It's not that. It's just how can I put it? Like the main character, that's just I don't know what happened to him. I really don't know. Like he just does not look like someone you want to play. The character just the face
he looks really baby faced, yeah, in that
yeah,
shot, which
yeah.
is bizarre. Which is
like
bizarre.
I said, they have no chins.
But
They
if you
have
look,
no
like,
chins. Not chins, but jaws. There's no
go to
jaw
the
lines.
website, go to like the official website and look at the 2D character designs.
Oh,
And
they probably look fine.
they look really good. They look really, really good.
They,
Really good.
They probably look normal, I guess, like normal
Yeah.
anime, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
you can
like
see that in the logo. You can see that in the key art there, like the 2D. Like that's what they like. They look really good there. But when they make the transition over to 3D, it's like I don't know. I just don't know if they. I don't know. It's
I
weird.
think it's just because it's early. It's still a little bit rough. It's not 100%. And of course, like this art is always going to look fine. You know, this kind of the what do you want to call it? Just the cover art kind of deal. You know, that's always going to be fine. Like I could say the same thing about Soul Calibur, right? Like any Soul Calibur game, the 2D art is
Oh yeah,
amazing. I love it.
2D, 2D
But when
I
we
don't
get
know,
into
but
the character models, I actually don't like the character models in Soul Calibur. I've never liked them
I think they
that
look
much.
fine though. Honestly, I think the character models in Soul Calibur look fine.
They look fine, but they're I mean, like they're not my cup of tea sometimes. I wish they would just look like the 2D images sometimes. Like
I think everyone that I've spoken to agrees that the character models in Star Ocean so far they look like weird.
it's the face. I'm telling y'all, it's the face. They have look at their jaws. Like look down there. It's like they don't exist. Like they don't have a jaw, which if you probably look in Tales of Arise because at least they keep it fully anime, like at least their jaw feature is there. These guys like it's like they just have a forehead and then like the bottom part of their face it melts. It just melts away.
The problem is that because they're like 3D is why it looks so weird. Like if they went
This dude doesn't look bad. This dude doesn't look that bad. You can't hate on him that much. He actually looks kind of fine. But once again, look how angular his face. He has no jaw. His jaws are chiseled.
Yeah.
Like gone.
So I think like other games don't look this weird because they have like everything is stylized when it, like everything including the background and the characters and the whole world has like an anime kind of filter on it, right? But this is being like really choosy. Like just the backgrounds look so damn like realistic, honestly, in terms of like.
Yeah, I don't even know if they look that realistic. I would say it's their more the lighting and everything, and it helps it look realistic. But if you look at her hair, but if you look at her hair, how rough it is, you're like, her actual what she's wearing looks better than her hair.
That's true. Yeah,
right. There's something really rough about all these characters. Her nose, like what is it? I don't even want to say about her nose. We're talking about.
True. Yeah, her hair is like really flat. It's really flat. Like go look at a picture of Aerith, I guess, from FF7, right? You can see.
Well, that's a completely different beast. We can't compare the crown jewel of Square Enix to the
crown Aerith.
The crown Aerith to like we can't compare Aerith to this. That's like
I don't know. Go look at Jessie then.
Oh, we definitely can't compare Jessie because you know she's next tier level. Okay, let me go find Jessie really quick. I was almost found Jessie fan art. I was like, that's not gonna be good.
Yeah, no, don't try that. Yeah, don't try
Jessie remake. You just want her in-game model?
Yeah, her in-game. Like we need to do apples to apples. We can't do like a
okay. We have to do apples to apples. Let me see if I can find a good Jessie. It's probably on their website, but I'm not on their website. Jessie's got it going on all the time.
I mean, this is definitely Tri-Ace. Like this is Tri-Ace doing Tri-Ace.
This is right? Tri-Ace doing Tri-Ace right here. I mean,
it's just like I don't know. I guess it's what they really know what to do. I guess it's just kind of their style, really.
Okay, here's a really small image of. Gosh, I'm like, here's a small image of her, but I mean, even blown up, it's still fine. Like I'm not gonna lie, like even blown up.
Yeah, like she looks really good. Like everything about Jessie
still looks fine. Like Jessie looks.
I don't know. There's some.
Her face is full.
Definitely
look
ask
at the
like
face.
Someone else. Like yeah, get like another opinion. But there's an uncanny valley problem with the Star Ocean characters. Do you know what I mean?
I just think their 3D design is bad. I feel like but they can't go this direction. This is too realistic. This is actually too too much in the direction they don't want to go. And Tales of Arise is the wrong direction that they still don't want to go. They're trying to hit this in between and what they've always done. Like I said.
Yeah, I think that's the uncanny valley. That's the thing. That's the uncanny valley where it's not realistic enough, but it's not fake enough. That's why it's weird.
Let me pull up the last little comparison. I feel like this will kind of hopefully because maybe it looks different in my mind. Not Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I think it's the first one. I feel like it reminds me something about.
I don't know, like I'm thinking of Shulk in my head right now. I'm like, Shulk looks fine to me. Like Shulk, I never had a problem looking at Shulk.
Yeah, but you don't have an issue looking at them. I didn't even have an issue looking at good old Shulk. Even I
Yeah,
don't think he looks
like
strange.
no one hates Shulk basically,
But like,
right?
let me see if I can find OG. Yeah, OG Shulk doesn't even look that.
Yeah, like I like no one.
OG Shulk doesn't
Yeah,
even look that bad. He looks. I mean, it's rough. It's rough,
like Shulk
but
doesn't look like no one was like, oh Shulk, I hate Shulk's face or anything like that.
it's rough. You can still see the V. He doesn't really have a jaw. His jaw is there, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's a
definitely.
V.
Because the
But
thing
his
about Shulk,
eyes
yeah, his
are a
like
little bit more
if
full.
you look at him now, it's definitely like my mind is just like, oh, it's definitely like it's definitely like an anime character. Like it's definitely like meant to be like not realistic at all. It's like not in our realm. But
Right, right.
I definitely feel like the problem with the Star Ocean characters is that it's right in uncanny valley.
You
It's
want them?
not
I think you know what they need to have larger eyes. Maybe
really.
no. Like look. Larger
Oh,
eyes.
yeah, because Shulk has pretty big eyes, I guess. Yeah.
Just give them the standard eyes, the standard anime eyes. Like
I
give that
think
to
yeah,
them.
because the problem with the sergeant characters is that like it part of it is realistic, like her clothing, for example, it's her clothing, and then like the rest of it all doesn't. It's not in the same like spectrum as well. So it's in
There's
this weird in between where it's like not anime, but it's also not realistic. And
it
then
just doesn't
your
have
mind like it sees this, and you're like something is off, something's weird about this.
something. It's like something doesn't add up a little bit. For me, it's like I
And
said, their
yeah,
faces. She doesn't look like she's even the age of this person. That's why I think the
yeah,
he looks fine from this angle. Like I honestly feel like that dude looks fine. Um, and then the girl, like the little girl, like she actually does like her. She looks fine because she is like that's appropriate age, right? It looks like her face would be that small. I don't really have an issue with her
yeah.
that
That
much,
also looks fine to me
right?
because it's like something about that is just like very. I don't know, like
The only thing I would say is her bangs are a little bit too long. And that's
I
the same
th-
thing with the other girl. Their
I
bangs are so long and it makes their faces even shorter.
I think it's like the realistic lighting that's throwing it off because your mind is like this should be real life, but these characters are very much not real life. But when you look at some of these shots, we're like, oh, this is very like this is anime. This is very anime, and that's why it doesn't look as weird to me.
Yeah, yeah. There is one more example that I'm gonna pull up really quick. Someone's like, this turns the Star Ocean thing. We don't have too much news to go through anyway, so this is actually pretty fun. The last game probably that's really close to this, or not close to this at all. It's not. Fantasy Star. Those are some people are very you either like Fantasy Star character models or you don't like them. I'm talking about the newer ones, not the older ones. Those are straight up anime.
Yeah,
I don't feel like they look this bad.
no, like again, like and for me, Fantasy Star like PSO2, what you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah, to me, I don't have that uncanny valley problem with PSO2 is because it's everything looks anime to me, including the environments, because the lighting is just kind of like meh.
It's so anime, right?
Yeah, so
you know,
then I'm like, oh, my mind is just like, oh, this is completely obviously just it's all fine with me.
yeah. Even looking on their website, like the characters that pop up from the beginning, you know, it really, you know, that's what it is. I think Star Ocean, and maybe we have to go and look at previous Star Oceans, but that's actually what it is. It's the eyes. Their eyes aren't full. They're not like tall. They're you know. I feel like if they had a little bit more just standard generic eyes, that it might just kind of look fine on them. I don't know.
What on the PSO2 characters?
No, on the
Star Ocean characters.
Star Ocean characters, yeah.
So if they had like like normal
Just
eyes.
just these normal anime eyes, I feel like they could be fine.
I don't know. You could Photoshop it, but I honestly, I don't.
Some of them look fine. Like some of these characters look fine. Some of them look like they need a little bit more time cooking. Like okay, from this direction, he looks fine, or
he looks
this person
fine
looks
because,
fine.
like yeah, like
From this angle, I don't have any issues.
Like the female character for me is the worst. And also, I had this problem with 4 as well. I was doing a replay of 4 on my PC, and I had the same problem where like some of the environments look really good, but then you have these characters that are like just they're really doll like. They're really doll like because you just like rendered out a doll essentially into 3D space, and they reflect light and they handle light like naturally, like you would expect an object to would if you place it there. But it's definitely an uncanny valley kind of thing for me.
We'll have to see. Like a lot of this game is still probably not polished. It's still, you know, they're doing whatever builds and everything like that. So they had to show something. Like you can see from this, like the background. Definitely, if you're listening via like iTunes or something like that, go ahead and check out the YouTube channel so you can see what we're talking about. Because yeah, you can see some of these characters and some of the backgrounds. Some of the backgrounds look okay, the textures aren't there, and then sometimes it's like okay, the effects are there, but this isn't. So it's kind of like, honestly, I wish they hadn't have shown it to us in this, or shown us a more vertical slice of something instead of what we kind of have. Just showed us a trailer. Like they could just did this little CG thing and been like, Star Ocean, it's back.
I mean, I'll probably get used to it. I mean, I played
right?
4 and I got used to it. I didn't play 5. Actually, you know what? I never had the problem looking at Star Ocean 5 characters, and I wonder why that is, actually.
Oh no, I don't know. I have to go look up.
But like Star Ocean 4,
character.
when I was playing through 4, I remember doing it, and I was like, this looks weird. this is weird. You get used to it after like playing for 60 hours, right?
You get used to it, and yeah, you get used to it. They definitely are in like an in between phase. I'm looking at the characters right now. It's definitely an in between phase of those characters. Even the main character in Star Ocean 5, he does not look like, he looks a little bit more akin to something in a PSO2, slightly more.
Yeah, if you look at like any screenshots from from Star Ocean 5, I feel like all in all, like everything meshes like a little bit better, and it just looks a little less weird. That's all.
It's more congruent, yeah. It's more everything is actually smoothed.
And that, yeah, exactly, and that's why
everything is actually smoothed.
That's why
this isn't a high res shot or anything like that, but everything is actually smoothed over. His there's no lighting reflecting on his coat or anything like that.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, oh, this is fine. My brain sees that, and I'm like, okay, nothing's weird about that.
He still has like a no job, but it feels a little bit more fuller to me. His head looks more round.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like it's more of a round head than.
And I think the why I'm looking at the screenshot from 5, and I'm like, oh, my mind is okay with this, is because like the background is kind of flat, his shirt is kind of flat, his face is kind of flat, everything's flat, right?
Yeah.
But then you look at the another screenshot from 6, and you're like, hey, something. His fidelity graphic wise is better, but I don't know if you should have done that.
It's we'll see how it is. Like I said, it comes out in
like a year,
in a year, and it might get delayed. I kind of want to find some more stuff on Star Ocean. Now I'm super curious. But that is the thing that is happening, and we're at the end of the show. Just gonna run by a couple things really quick. We were talking about Sony, and if they were continue with their PlayStation, PC brand, or however that would be, what it would become in the future. And like literally like the next day or 2 days later, they come out with, oh yeah, PlayStation PC label.
I think, yeah, I mean, that's good. I feel like that's, at least they're taking it like a tiny bit. Well, they are taking it seriously, but part of me also is just like, previously, I don't know if you knew this, but like Horizon Zero Dawn, and I want to say Days Gone, they were published under PlayStation Mobile.
Oh, okay.
And they might have just changed the name because they're like, this doesn't represent our brand, so let's not call it PlayStation Mobile. Let's call it PlayStation PC, and that probably might have just been part of it.
That's a good point. And it looks like who they had do some of those projects were 505 Games, which they've done great ports of a lot of different games.
505 was Days Gone?
I believe it was either PlayStation has generally worked with external developers. That's a good question.
I think Horizon Zero Dawn was not 505.
I think that was just Guerrilla. I feel like it was Guerrilla, but
I'm on Steam.
We'll never know who was actually.
Yeah, it's Guerrilla. It's
Guerrilla. Yeah, I feel like it's Guerrilla, but I think we do know that Santa Monica did not do the port for God of War.
I think they were like kind of working.
They're working with somebody, right?
Yeah,
they're working
with someone,
with somebody, an outside studio. But it's nice, it just means that, hey, this is something that they're going to stick with. It's here to stay, and hopefully we'll keep getting all these at a good clip. Probably not, but at a good clip. And moving on, PlayStation 4 fans or PS5 fans, because that's the only place you can get Street Fighter 5 on. It still blows my mind there is no Xbox version of Street Fighter Five.
I thought there would be, but no, no.
When it was exclusive, it was super exclusive because I think they did help fund part of the development for that game and they just locked it up. I just forgot because it's been 10 years. But all 45 characters are going to be coming out.
But has it been 10 years?
Whenever PlayStation 4 came out, it was almost a darn launch game.
I kind of want to refuse to believe that.
I don't think it's 10 years completely, but it's. Go look it up. Street Fighter 5 is old.
It's old. Yeah, well, I mean, 4 is old. When did Street Fighter 5 came out? 2016.
Oh, okay. So it's 5 years. Okay. 5 years. Okay. I doubled it.
Yeah, apparently.
I doubled it for their health.
Yeah.
For their safety.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. 10 years ago was still 4. Yeah, it was still 4 10 years ago. Jesus.
Oh, man. But yeah, you'll be able to get all the characters in this, their Ultimate Edition. I should not call it the Ultimate Edition. It's called the Champion
Type
Edition.
Arcade, I think. What's it called? I don't know. What's it called?
In Japanese, it's called the Champion Edition All Character Pack, which sounds like a DLC, but I guess you'll be able to just buy the game and get everything in it. That's just a new version because they're selling it at a full 60 or 6,000 yen. So maybe it'll come out for like 40 in the US or something like that. Coming out on the 9th of December this year. So that'll come with the new character Luke. Luke, the last character in the game.
Holy shit. If you go to streetfighter.com and you scroll to the bottom and they're like, here are the Street Fighter games, guess what still shows up?
What would still show up?
Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
What's wrong with that?
Does anyone play that game even more? Did anyone remember that game?
I feel like people who played it remember it.
Yeah, but it's okay.
What's wrong with Street Fighter Cross? That was actually a good game. It was actually a good game.
You try to click on it, it just leads to a 404.
I don't know. I don't actually know the internals for that, but it's dead.
That's so funny. If you go to streetfighter.com and you scroll to the bottom, you click on Street Fighter Cross Tekken, it leads to a 404.
I almost forgot how you have to play that game because it is on. I think it's on Xbox and PlayStation 3. Yeah, Xbox 360, PS3, and Vita.
I think.
And Vita. I think the Vita still works online or something like that. It's laggy as heck, but no one still plays that game.
I think it's on PC actually as well, if I'm not mistaken.
If you want to get it on PC,
someone can get it on PC.
if anyone wants it, they can get it.
Yeah, it's on PC. It's still expensive. Holy shit.
They need to sell it. It's because they need to sell it.
Reviews are mixed on Steam right now.
It's a good game, but there's no online. Like I don't trust that online. I mean, there is online, but it's not good online. So no.
Apparently, the PC version won't launch. It crashes for everyone.
Well, that's even worse online because you can't even get online. You can't even get the game. You can't even run the game.
Yeah.
Oh man! And then closing it out finally, Sega and Microsoft are going to be doing a alliance. I love how this is called a strategic alliance. Like this is, I guess this is the way that they're framing it. But Sega is going to be using the Microsoft's Azure cloud platform to. Do I have to say super game?
Yeah.
They want to move forward in the future with helping to make a super game.
Sweet. Sounds good.
Super games for everybody. And that just means that the Azure, we were talking about this earlier before, but this is Microsoft's cloud platform in terms of helping offloading computer processing stuff to the cloud and making games, in theory, better. Alan Wake used it.
Oh, really? How?
I feel like Alan Wake used it for some reason. I don't know why. I
don't even remember.
I don't even remember. I'm just saying it.
Did you play Alan Wake?
No. I have it on PC, but I didn't.
I think everyone for some reason has a copy of Alan Wake and they don't know why.
They don't know why.
You just woke up with a copy of Alan Wake in the library. I think I have
just woke up with a copy of it.
Check.
The only other game that's like that is Metro. Everyone should own everybody should own a copy of Metro and Metro 2020. Like all of them. Like you just have to.
So I don't have Alan Wake, but I do have. I think on Epic or something, I have a copy of Metro.
Oh wait, the other game? It was Forza. It was actually Forza. Forza definitely used it.
Oh yeah, no.
Forza, one of the Horizon versions, I believe.
I think it's
actually
for
what used it.
For the Ghost
the ghost
the
data
ghost driver
cars,
data?
or yeah. It was used very, very, very sparingly, but a huge sales point of the Xbox One before it all went to heck.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, like I wonder why they're doing this, because like Sega's just like we need this to make our games or something, and Microsoft's like, hey, we have a solution to sell to you or something like that. Like, I don't know.
I honestly, I should. It's like go read the story a little bit more. Let me see if I can find it just really quick before we close it out. By working with Microsoft to anticipate such trends as they further accelerate further in the future, the goal is to optimize development processes and continue to bring high quality experiences to players using Azure cloud technologies.
Well, that doesn't really tell us much.
That's all we
Yeah,
got.
that doesn't say much, but
That's all we got.
yeah.
There's probably a couple more news stories, and of course, by the end of this is coming from Routers, so it's a more business focused side of the story. But yeah, towards the end of this week, you'll definitely start seeing more stories about it. So I don't know, just go look at it, everybody. I am done. I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
Okay.
We finished the topics.
Sweet.
We've done it.
So really, nothing. There's no other news.
Bayonetta turned 12.
Oh, sweet. Happy birthday, Bayonetta.
I need to play Bayonetta 2. That's it. I'm out. Like I don't know. You got any news? You got anything? You got anything you want to close with?
Yeah. Pokemon's coming out this month, I guess.
It is Diamond and Pearl remakes, right?
Yeah.
Or updates, remakes.
Remakes.
And then Arceus.
I think it is Arceus. I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
January, next year, next year, January or February, wherever it lands. And I have a Switch to play it now.
Sweet. You gonna get Pokemon or no? You just don't give a shit. You're gonna wait for Arceus.
I'll either get Arceus or I'll get like one of the Eevee or Pikachu kind of thing,
Pikachu?
or
Yeah,
or
okay.
Sword and Shield kind of deal. It's probably if I get a Pokemon, I'll probably start out with one of those instead of the remakes. Which I guess Eevee, and that's a remake anyways, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's nothing really. I mean, I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that kind of trickled out during this week, but nothing that I can honestly particularly remember.
Yeah, the PlayStation press conference, or not press conference, but the showcase that they did, nothing really came out of that. King of Fighters beta, that's going to be happening in November, like 12th or some weekend. So King of Fighters 15?
It is 15, yep.
Yeah. If you want to shatter your expectations,
Sure.
eight playable characters, it'll be good.
I haven't played a KOF game in a very long time. I was playing the new Phasmo update. The game's ridiculous now.
We did, yeah. We played that a little bit together. That game,
it's hard.
I just want to go back to old Phasmo, like dumb Phasmo.
But it was like easy, kind of, yeah.
It was just like a joke the entire time, but it was kind of like, the ghost could still kill you now, but now it's just like the hiding spots are gone. It's like the game looks nice.
There's no question. Yeah,
the ghost will kill you. Yeah, the ghost will kill you, and the ghost will kill you without you even knowing it's there sometimes.
I legitimately was like, hey, I think maybe the ghost is hunting, and I'm like, I'm gonna go BRB, and then I'm like, oh, I'm dead.
You're dead. It's like, look, play on. I think we talked about it when we played. Like, they need a difficulty in between professional and
amateur, or whatever,
and
intermediate, or
intermediate,
yeah,
somewhere around there. Like, it's just enough to have fun, but just enough to kind of like that you need to focus a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause that nightmare mode, the campsite's fun. I gotta say the campsite was actually pretty cool. And it was actually a lot larger than I thought it was. And it's nice to be out in the open. I like the weather effects that they added to the game.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. But man, nightmare mode. I don't know what you need to do to balance it.
It's really hard.
That's real life going to a ghost hunt, bro.
Yeah.
You just die. If you want to know what it's like in real life, go play Phasmo Nightmare mode.
What if you would like to know what it's like to actually investigate a ghost?
And you won't know trust me, you won't know it's there. You'll have all the equipment, but you won't know. And you will get a couple of the evidences, but you still won't know. because it's
then
hiding from you.
You'll die trying to figure out.
You'll
the
die
ghost,
trying to figure it out. Get pushed
so
over
in
something.
Nightmare, they won't show you the third piece of evidence. You have to guess the last one.
You just have to guess, which is kind of cool that they did add that element in terms of you need to pay attention to the kind of characteristics of the ghost. But if you died so fast, you can't pay attention to the characteristics.
I did a couple Nightmare runs, and it's like we all like died before we even got a single piece of evidence.
Chain kills, man. Ghosts will chain kill you.
The chain kills are madness. Anyways, yeah, that's it, man. That's all I got.
There we go. So we'll see you all next week for episode 108 of the Unknown Games podcast. Be sure, like I said, to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're listening on iTunes or Google Play Podcast. Any place you can leave a review, go ahead and leave a 3 to 5 star review. We don't take 1 or 2. And and then follow us.
We will refund those. Yeah, thank you very much.
We will deny them. We will just erase them. And also go ahead, follow us on Twitter at UGP_cast. And you can also follow us personally on Twitch. We do stream every day of the week between the both of us at I am at NinjaTrix, NinjaTrix, because I'm cool.
Because he's cool.
And my co-host is at Route24, ROUTE24. That's not spelt out. The numbers.
The numbers.
Because he is also cool.
Well, yeah, I'm also practical.
Shout outs to Shell and Yahya for being here in the chat today. Shell also says only 5 stars. Yahya had to go to sleep because 9 o'clock is his bedtime.
What an adult.
He's responsible. And I almost forgot. Speaking of Yahya, there is a show. We did a bonus about his fan remake of Ape Escape. So it's on the YouTube channel. I'll probably also have it on the normal podcast feeds as well. So that's it for this week. Remember, you set the tone, go play some games, have some fun, stay safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Sure. Which is a lot, but still, just to be safe.
Always be safe.
All right. Sounds good.
Peace.
See ya.